you were broken. And the reason why I use past tense, you may not feel like you're 100%, but no hero tend to feel like they're a hero. But you came through tremendously. So much so that in your healing process, God has given you an avenue not only to heal you and to allow you to vent, but also to help you to minister and help others. And out of this, you actually wrote a book. Tell us about your book.
Well, it didn't really start off as writing a book.
Yes.
You know, my pastor, he mentioned to me, he said, just write your feelings down. It helps. Write down how you're feeling, what your thoughts are. And I just started writing, and each time that I would write, I would put a heading to it. Okay, I'd say, from pain to praise, or vengeance is mine. I just started writing and putting a topic to it. And I asked him to look at it. He said, you know, this is a book that you've written. And that's how that's how I got to write that book, you know, but it didn't start off as me saying, okay, I'm going to write a book.
You know, it's very, very powerful. We are living epistles. I remember when we did you had the service for Keely. I also gave remarks there. Something you said stirred me, changed all the nature of the remarks. When you said, if they had only known how much I love him, they would not have killed my child. Now, that was a little presumptuous. It's like, you know, but it was so profound. It's presumptuous, like, how can you say if they know how much I love him? You're like, my child is the only thing in the world. And then the Spirit ministered to me. And I remember the scripture which says, if Satan had known, he would not have crucified Christ. You know, if he had known that in killing Christ, such benefit would have accrued to his detriment, he would have had the sense. And I realized that in your pain, and this speaks to your book, that the Holy Spirit was just literally speaking with you and dealing with you. And we see it here in this book. And I want to encourage everybody, you know, even if we get sidetracked, the name of the book is Lord, Don't Let Him Die, by Sonia Kemp. And I know that's in the bookstore, in the mall, Logos bookstore, and also on Amazon, right?
Mm-hmm. On Tate's publishing website.
Why that title?
When I got the news of what happened to my son, and I ran to the park, you know, I could actually see my son laying on the ground. I still get kind of emotional. I could see my son laying on the ground before I even got there. You know, when I saw him laying there, his childhood had just left my presence a few minutes ago. You know, the only thing that I could say was, Lord, please don't let my son die. Because I couldn't imagine my life without him. I really couldn't. The days following his death, I prayed every night. I said, Lord, please don't let me wake up when I go to sleep, because I can't face life without my son. I really didn't think that I could make it. But you know, when God has a plan for your life, no man can stop what God's plan is. And I have gained some strength that I never knew that I had. Like nothing can shake me now. No matter what I go through in this life, I can deal with it. After what I've been through, I've been to the darkest place that any mother could ever go through. To watch your son, a child that you love, and you love this child more than you love your own self. If I could have given my life to say, well, take my life and let him live, I would have done it that night. You know, just the way that he looked at me and said, Mommy, this last thing he said was, Mommy. You know, I know Satan tried to have me replay that in my head over and over and over again, but I asked God each day to take that picture away from me, to help me to remember the way that he died with that smile on his face, you know. And that smile says a lot for me. That gives me a lot of comfort, because I know his smile.
The thing about it, also looking in your book, the events of that day started a little bit in obscurity. You just having a mother and son banter, poking each other, him making money and borrowing $5 from you. Oh yeah, that's your child. Because I know I realize that's your child, because my children do the same thing to me.
Yes, when they want to borrow money.
When they're saving, they use our money. It's like, you have... and it started with a youthful banter. Help us see that picture, those moments that when you last saw your son in the state that you remember your son before this incident?
Well, that morning I heard a knock on my door. It was like 7:30 in the morning because he usually sleeps in kind of late. So he got up early that morning. He said, "Mommy, I'm going in the store." I said, "Already, Keely?" So it's just like 7 o'clock. He said, "I have somebody that's coming early to get their haircut." So he went in the store. And I didn't join him until it was like 2 o'clock. And we stayed in there and he cut hair on the side and we talked and laughed and we closed the store. It was like 5:10 around the time we locked up. And he said, "Mommy, can I have $5?" I said, "Keely, you just made all that money today. Use your own money." So he said, "Mommy, I'm saving this money for something." So I said, "Okay." He went, he got the $5. And as he was walking out the door, he looks back and I had my face like shrugged it up like, you're gonna pay it back. So he looked at me and he laughed. He said, "Mommy, I'm gonna pay you back." And he walked out the door and I walked behind him, he locked the door. And when he got outside, he said, "Mommy, take my picture." So I was like, "Okay." And I took his picture and he tagged me in the photo as he walked out to the corner to go and get his food. He said, "I'm going to get something to eat." He said, "Mommy, you're not cooking?" I said, "I'm not cooking today." He said, "I'm going to get something to eat." I said, "Jaquil, it's almost the Sabbath. Hurry up and come back home."
Wow. And you got a final photo?
I have a photo right before he died. He took his picture. He asked me to take his picture.
Wow. I know the kind of relationship, you know, the old folk in Foxhill said that a man isn't a man till he have girls and a woman isn't a woman till she have boys. And I know the kind of relationship boys have with their ma. So much so, you know, with my son, many times I say, "That, you know, that's your woman."
Yeah.
You know, sometimes the way they banter and everything else, I just say, "All right, I don't get in that." And I see that kind of passion in the relationship, even in this brief interaction. And then you heard some noise.
Well, I went upstairs and I started to prepare for the Sabbath. You know, I started to take our clothes to press for the Sabbath for church for the following day. And I heard what sounded like a war zone. I mean, I just heard gunfire and gunshots going off. And I looked at my husband who was sitting on the bed and I said, "Keely went to the store." I said, "You heard that?" I felt a pain immediately in my heart as I heard the noise. I just felt it, like I froze right where I was. And I listened and I heard screaming outside. I heard people running up and down the road. And I was like, "Oh my God, something bad has happened." And my son went to the store. And I started running down the stairs. And when I got to the bottom of the stairs, I heard someone banging on my door, like violently banging on the door. And I opened the door. And there was a little boy, and he looked at me, and I looked at his face, and I could see like the horror on his face. And he said, "Are you Miss Kemp?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Somebody shot Keely in his head." He said, "Somebody shot Keely in his head." So I screamed to my husband. I said, "Carl, somebody shot Keely." And I just started running towards the park. And I felt like my legs weren't taking me as fast as I wanted to get there. And when I got almost to the park, I could see him laying right under the basketball court where he was walking. His friend said that they were walking together. Jaquil had gotten his phone and he was coming home. He was walking through the park. And when he heard the shot, he turned around. And as soon as he turned around, because he was backward, as soon as he turned around, he got shot in his head. You know, and he dragged himself to the side and leaned up against the wall. When I got there, the police officer, he told me, he said, "Your son didn't make it." And I started screaming. I said, "Lord, please don't let my son die tonight." And Jaquil heard me. And he lifted up his hand and he said, he kept trying to say, "Mommy." You know, but I started screaming, just like someone shake me and said, "Stop it. You don't make his last moments chaotic."
Yes.
And I just held him. And I told him how much I loved him.
Wow.
I said, "Keely, I love you so much."
Wow.
And I told him how much Jesus loves him.
Yes.
You know, to watch your child just laying there. He's like drowning in his own blood right in front of my eyes. You know, and he's looking at me. There's nothing that I can do. Like, I'm his mother. I'm supposed to protect him. I gave birth to him. I'm supposed to make sure that nothing happens to him. You know, and when the ambulance came and they took him out of my hand, you know, I saw pain still on his face and they took him out of my hand. But when I got to the hospital, you know, God is so good. It was a whole different story. When I got to the hospital, there was an elderly nurse at the door, and she said, I've never seen anyone die like your son. So I'm thinking that she meant like something graphic, and she said, your son has the glory of God on him. Mm-hmm. And I walked into the room where he was laying. Oh my God.
You know what we can do, Sonia? I'm gonna take a break, because you're making me tear up in this plea as well. I know your passion, I feel your passion. You're tuned into Silver Lining here on 96.9 Guardian Radio. We'll be right back after these messages. This is indeed a very special time. We're also inviting you to follow us on our Facebook page, which is Silver Lining at Guardian Radio 96.9, where you can see some of the posts related to this show, and you can keep up to date. The line's open. You can feel free to call in. Sonia, those days were very unique events. It wasn't necessarily a party, it wasn't necessarily a celebration. I've been a Grand Marshal and for the Congos during that time, Deputy Chair, all that different stuff. And we were waiting for our results. You know, we had a super victory, an awesome rush during the Boxing Day rush, and we were told that scoring was supposed to come in. So we expected to get our results and then move from there down to Hawaii to get the special ratings. We were supposed to get the tentative results on 12 noon. So while you were hearing the stuff up there in your house, I had just left the park and tell everybody, because I had difficulty getting the Grand Marshal of the overall parade to get information for the group. So I said, no, let me go home to a landline so I could use the cell phone and the landline, you know, to try and get information. And it was rather frustrating. And so I called from home and I called back to Jabba. Everybody knows Jabba, the backline bass drummer, awesome fella. I just love Jabba. Jabba cool. Mm-hmm. And I called Jabba because I couldn't get one of the other guys, because, you know, so I called him. And just when I called him, I said, Jabba, I'm calling you to tell everybody, just leave, go home, because we're not getting the information. They're not going to have the scores out in time. Leave, go home. And as I was talking to Jabba on the phone, I started hearing what you heard in your house. I was hearing it, the phone was in one hand, in my ear, and I was physically hearing it out the other ear. So at one split second, I looked at the phone and hearing from two ways, and Jabba saying, they're shooting up the park, they're shooting up the park, they're shooting up the park. And your description of a war zone was indeed a war zone. You know, there's something I take different with in your book. Two things. One is personal commitment, the other one that infuriates me. Not what you said, but at least something that infuriates me. When you said that he took a stray bullet, you know, and I read it in the book, because your son got shot in his head with a high-powered round. I couldn't say high-powered gun, because you put high-powered rounds into these handguns now. But they were high-powered AK-47 rounds, because I was there while the blood was still fresh on the street, with the police, locating those bullets. You understand? Even after they gave up, I found some additional ones for them. And then showed them some bullets that were so powerful. You know those big silk cotton trees? The bullets went to the root of one silk cotton tree, hit the other silk cotton tree, ricocheted off it, and embedded in the third silk cotton tree. And we were able to find where the bullet was going just by following the path of the ricochet. and they were actually AK-47 rounds. Now I know they could not have been using the AK-47 weapon itself, because those rounds could fit in certain handguns, because they were out their window as they drive. Let me picture this for everybody. Sitting on the park, it's sitting on the wall, and it's like these persons drove, and it's like going down a gauntlet and just open fire. Now when you shoot into a crowd, now you can see where I have a problem with saying it just was a stray bullet. If it had gone up the road and hit somebody in the house, but you had perfect view of everybody on that park, including your son. You catch what I'm saying? And you shoot in there. I can't accept the word stray, because you shot with automatic weapon. And I said something to you after the show, when we took the break. Where's the justice in this? And this is where I'm getting at. A lot of things were done behind scenes. I don't tell everybody I do. I had some heated arguments with some top people, as relate to certain things. And as to how can this happen, especially when charges came out, how can you charge, and I'm not concerned with the court case, I'm not prejudicing anything in that regard, that would deal with itself. But on this question, I had to be, how can it be that all of a sudden, the persons who you're charging are only charged with the 4 counts of murder, where there were other persons that were actually hit with bullets and survived. Taylor got hit in his buttocks.
Some were really bad too.
Yes. Tunde got shot through his neck. I'm not going to call names. So others, I'm not going to call names. I don't want to wake up. These are my people. I don't want to wake this up. Persons were hit even simple on the finger. And my concern was there were about 45 to 50 people in close proximity on that park. And persons opened fire into a crowd, but I didn't hear no counts of attempted murder. This is me. Where's the justice? We're facing our country with something that is called the worst of the worst. So how can I prove the worst and the worst when by the time we reach the court, the impact of the whole event has been downgraded to, and I'm not going to use the word justice, no justice in this, 1 death is too much, to only 4 murders. But what happened to the dozens of attempted murders? You catch what I'm saying? Because when you open up fire on a crowd with an automatic weapon, and you spray bullets in a path that's almost about 150 feet.
You want everyone to die.
You catch what I'm saying? Just because I might not have gotten hit with a bullet, that doesn't mean that was not attempted murder. I'm concerned with the justice system, and I won't say who but I emailed and I chat top people, but I can say this because it's a fact. The final decision was the AG office, who makes determination of what and how you take this to court. That's not justice. I don't care how hard the court case is, I don't care how complicated it is, take truth to court. And that's the situation with me. So I had that issue with the stray bullet. I wrestled with it when I read it, and I read your book. I love your book, and I encourage everybody to get a copy of it.
I'll tell you why I said stray bullet.
Yes, please.
Not because, I said stray bullet because when they passed and shooting, it's not like, they killed my son with a bullet.
Yes.
But it's not like they just stood there and they aimed at him. They shot it in a crowd. They didn't say this bullet is for Shaquille, this bullet is for... It could have been anyone. So I call it stray because, people these days, persons go around, they're aiming to kill this person or they're aiming to kill that person. But they just shot in a crowd. And that's my reason for calling it stray. Because when something is stray, it can hit anybody. You don't care. So that's why I called it stray.
Yeah, to me it's just so powerful. When you shoot in a crowd, you want to hit everybody.
Yeah, you don't care. You actually don't care who it is. It could be a mother there, you don't care. Because you don't know. I'm sure they didn't know who was there on that park. It could have been their own family members.
I'm looking right in the face, and I'm glad I got the shift, because when your heart got so tender, you started to make me tender, and I want to look macho on the show, So now that the shift, let's move back to the overall point. You dealt with that, and you see what going on in this nation. And that I want to speak to the character of Shaquille as we come to the overall crux of this. And I know for a fact, I've seen mothers cry on TV, and they themselves say how the police always visiting their house with their child. Everybody knows their child is known to the police, and you gotta realize, I'm a loving person, but I don't like foolishness, and I don't And I'm not one of those who could speak a lie and know everybody know is a lie, and just because nobody's scared enough, brave enough to say it to my face, I'm not that kind of person. I just want to speak truth. And there are a lot of persons out there who son and their children, although not deserving of murder in any instance, put themselves in the situation or are part of the situation and everything else. Or when you look at their children's resume or background, they were using drugs, they were using this, they were doing that. Not only that, some of them might have just been rude to parents and, other little different things that might have, there's nothing that condones murder. All right, self-defense is one thing, there's nothing that condones murder. But something that might have been a mitigating circumstances. Tell us about the Shaquille you and I know.
Shaquille was such a wonderful person. Even from a baby, I knew there was something special about him. I'm his mother. He's never once backtalked me, that's the first thing. He's never backtalked me. He went to school, I was never once called to the office or that he did anything wrong in school or fought in school or any of those stuff. He graduated with a 4.0, which is all A's. He was he was an honest student. He was the basketball captain. He led his school team, Bahamas Academy, to many championships. He loved his family. He loved church and he loved the Lord. He's never missed church, even when I don't go to church. He always make a joke, and he said that him and his stepdad, they're the first ones that every week the church, they open the church door. He's always there. For a 19-year-old, you would think that sometimes you would say, oh, Mommy, I don't feel like going to church today, but he's never done it. He would say, well, I'll wait till you're coming for 11 service. He's always there at 9:15. He's at church every Sabbath morning. He's there. He was a junior deacon. He worked in a PA room system at church. He did all the music at church, so he figured that he had to be there every week.
Yes.
Nobody else could do Shaquille's job. He had to be there
Yes.
to work in that PA room to make sure the music is right.
Yes.
He's just a wonderful, wonderful person. And his little brother, he missed him so much. But I'll tell you how the devil plays tricks on you, because just recently, a few months ago, my husband had told my youngest son, he said, you can take the garbage out. And he actually, for the first time he backtalked him, he's like, oh, I don't want to take it out, or something that he said. And so my husband said, so what is that about? What are you doing backtalking me? He said, Keely never did that before, never. And so his reply was, Daddy, you said, if you obey your parents, that you would live long.
Yes.
He said, and somebody killed Keely. He said, and Keely was the best person ever. Keely never backtalked you.
Yes.
So who's lying, Daddy, the Bible or you?
Yes.
Like when you tell your child, then
Profound.
but I just told him, God is God.
Yes.
And he will use whomever he have to use to get his point across
Yes.
in any situation. I said Keely was good, and God knows that Keely was good, But he used his life and said, you should be honored that your brother God, all the millions of people he chose to kill, and he wanted to use his life for something special. And as a mother, I refuse to let my son's name go just like that.
Yes.
I will never do that. As long as there's breath in my body, I will always tell everybody about my son. I will always want everyone to remember him for who he was. He was such an upstanding person. He loved the elderly persons. If my husband went away, he would be like, scoot over, Mommy. And me and him in the bed sleeping, he was just so loving. Like he thought that his mother was the most gorgeous person in the world. He always says.
We agree.
He always says, if I'm going out, he come downstairs, he'd be like, wow, Mommy, you really look beautiful tonight. He always gave me the most compliments. My house will never be the same.
He reminds me of my son, Deshaun. I tell my wife, I tell him, that's your wife. Cause
my husband said the same thing.
It's so amazing. You said something that is so powerful that I believe speaks and resonates in the heart of a lot of people. When they reach the point of conflict that your son had, when he said, hey, what happened to the promise? That if I honor my parents, what's the sense of me following these things that just happened? And I'd like to speak to people out there, God made it very, very clear. The thief comes to kill, steal, and destroy. That's Satan. But God said, but I have come that you may have life and have it more abundantly. That's the contrast. And then we go through and they say, okay, if God wants us to have life and have it more abundantly, then why did somebody just get killed? Well, you must understand too that God's word is a law to him. And so when God says it, remember, whatever he says will not return to him void. God gifts are without repentance. And the proof of that is when God gave Adam authority over the earth, and Adam gave it to Satan, God had to go with it. You know why? Because God respects the will of man. Whatever happened in the death of your child, or even a suicide, is the will of the individual. It is not God's will. God said, I care that none should perish. The proof of that actually is this, For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. People don't realize that God died for everybody. Including, yes, the homosexuals, the ones who want to get married and everything else, the politicians, everybody. He died, but the problem is, those who he died for don't want to apply. They don't want to apply it. You catch what I'm saying? It's like social services having enough money to help you with your rent, but you don't want to believe and go fill out the application. So the money is always there. And so at the end of the day, you're kicked out on the street, and then you buck somebody, you say, well, I just went in there and got the free money from social services. And so we must understand the difference between the will of God. God did not will for your son to die. I actually have an issue with persons saying, or is God will for the greater glory? I believe that whatever was done for bad, God can flip it. We're going to get into this as a segue into something good, but God has no glory in seeing you cry, your son with his brains blown out, his blood all over you, and you holding him in his hand. But I do give God praise because unlike a lot of these parents I see in this country whose children are dying and loved ones who see their loved ones are dying, they did not have, and it's hard to say the word benefit, but it is true, the benefit of being able to say the final words, to someone who you love. That even that degree of closure, they find them on the street, they find them in the bushes, they find them decayed. Yes. And that is very, very fortunate. But to you out there, I need you to understand clearly. This is not a wrestle against God. You understand? We have our free will, and there is an enemy out there. But I'll tell you this, ultimately, the greatest reality is spiritual, and God will reward everybody accordingly. When you look at this situation, Sonia, and we are understanding, if you accept my hypothesis, which is scriptural, that it's not God's will, but yet there is a benefit. Can you help us understand the silver lining in all of this, the benefits that accrued, that I believe help you on your journey to healing, and your healing is helping a lot of people. Help us understand the impact of this testimony and what has been happening since you have been expressing and what has been happening with you, what has been happening with others, what's been happening around church.
Well, since Shaquille has died, persons will come to me and they've been asking me to speak. I always say, well, no, that's not for me. I'm not a public speaker. Find somebody else to do that. But when God puts a charge in your life, trust me, you never know what you're going to do in this life. And I've spoken at so many organizations where there are hurting women, youth groups, and I just share my story with them. And I just let them know that no matter what, my thing is, no matter what you're going through, there's always going to be a brighter days coming. That God is, you have to put your trust in God. I had to totally surrender myself. When it first happened, I had so much pain inside of me. I had so much hurt. And I didn't see the plan that God had for my life as yet. All I saw was just darkness. But after I totally surrendered my life, even before all of that, even my son dying, that wasn't the end because the enemy was still trying to, he was still attacking me.
The graveyard, huh?
The graveyard with my daughter's baby.
Wow.
When my son died, my daughter was having her first child and she was 6 months pregnant, almost 6 months.
Yes.
And she went into labor on his birthday. And the baby lived only for 20 minutes.
Wow.
She went 9 months. And, when we were so excited with the baby, we said this baby's going to bring some joy back into our lives and we're going to smile again, the little feet running around. But, afterwards, I really thought about it. It's like, God doesn't want us to seek our happiness in nobody else. We have to first come to him first. How can I look to this child for my happiness? It might bring me joy, but it wouldn't give me that peace that I need.
Yes.
You know, so he wanted me to come to him first. Not only that, my second incident, I went to pay for the headstone for my son, and I was robbed at gunpoint in the graveyard.
Yes, in Woodlawn.
And that was like the turning point for me. That right there was the turning point. I said, that's it. Satan, I see what you're trying to do, but you're not going to win. You are not going to win. I actually left that graveyard, and I was laughing.
I know, remember we spoke.
They took
Wow.
$3,500 for
Yes.
me.
You just took out
But they didn't take my life. You know, I still had my life. I still
Yes.
had this new hope that I
Yes.
have.
Yes.
And I had this new passion because I knew that Satan was
Yes.
trying to attack me. And I
Yes.
saw, like, he just made it so clear.
Yes.
Like, okay, so
Yes.
this is the next attack against you.
Yes.
But, you know, I laughed at it in the end. I said, Lord, you know, no matter what comes my way, if the whole world crumbles around me, I'm still going to trust you. No matter what happens. As long as there's breath in my body, I'm going to praise you. I'm going to thank you.
Wow. See, that's the spirit of the overcomer that I want to awaken in our national psyche. You know, there may be people playing with us and trying to waste our wealth. But the true goose that laid a golden egg in the Bahamas is the Bahamian people. We add value to this place. Yes, we've given away a lot of land. A lot of persons have owned most of the infrastructure. But you know what? The character of the people. You know, we need to get up and start believing in what has been placed in us. Remember I said God gifts without repentance? When God made the Bahamas and he allowed you to be born here, you are a gift to this nation. Mm-hmm. If you are a gift to this nation, there's something in you that this nation need. Y'all hear me out there, Bahama land? There's something in you that this nation need. Mm-hmm. You were born, and not only here, but that you can export worldwide. And you got to know, and you got to see, and you got to find this. And if people who you're around only tolerate you and don't celebrate you, well, come hang out with some people like myself. Because we're going to find the greatness in you. We're going to get you on your path. You understand? There's nothing in this country a Bahamian can't do. There's nothing we can't be. We should not be sitting on the dock of the bay, disparaging and groping and crying and hanging our heads low. And when we get into that cycle, then we end up being like the enemy. We start to rob, steal, kill, and destroy. And at the end of the day, we hurt ourselves. You are awesome people. Whatever situation that you went through is no different than a bodybuilder. The heavier the weight, the stronger you become. You need to overcome. There's been death, there's been pain, there's been turmoil. Until Christ comes, people will be dying, and they need people who know pain to help guide people who just visited pain to go through pain. And you're helping people today. Because I've seen that look on your face on hundreds of people's faces in this country. And they need to hear, those who might not have let go, how to let go. Sonia, tell them how to let go. Somebody needs to hear how to let go, how to pick up, how to move on, how to let go.
Well, letting go is surrendering to God. You know, there's nothing that you can do without surrendering to Him. I wonder sometimes how people get through losing someone that they love if they don't know Christ. Like, how do you do it? He gives you this peace on the inside. I tell you, when my son first died in the months following, you know, I pray and ask God to send a comforter to me. And you would actually feel like you're wrapped in a blanket of love, I'm telling you. That's how He comforts His children, you know. And we have to make a decision. It's up to us. We have to make a decision what we're going to do with our lives. I could have decided, well, I don't want to take this. I'm just going to wallow in my sorrow and I'm just going to... But I just... You know, I decided to take the other route.
Well, that's powerful. We're going to take a break in this moment. Just again, the Silver Lining will be brought to you by Jumper, Aquinas Club of Fox Hill, St. Paul's Baptist Church, the St. Mark's Baptist Church, Bahamas Sleep Management Solution, and Reuben Ramming Word Study Good Group. We'll be right back after these messages. And my producer is Simba, and my co-producer is Kendall Williams. It's a pleasure to have you back. We do have somebody in the line. Let's see if he's still there, caller. Good. They probably passed. They was holding out for a while. We do have a text coming in. Said, good afternoon, Mr. Ramming. Please offer your guests a hug from Mr. and Mrs. Kaylin and Carolyn and Javis, and also myself, Katura Clark. That name's familiar. I think she has a company called Phenomenon Associates. In that regard, she sends her God, and persons they want to know also how to get a copy of your books. I think we need to say that again. Your books are available at.
Lowell's Bookstore and Harbor Bay Shopping Center. Also online at Tate's Publishing Bookstore and Amazon.
Wow. While we have that, I believe the whole show is about showing persons opportunity, and we want to get to the point of the community response and how this impacts the community. But let's take a minute. You were talking about your book, and out of nowhere you published a book. All right? And there are people who've had these dreams bottled up in the side. There are dozens of Miles Monroe in this country, but they seem to think it's some big thing. Let's bring the right out in you and give some advice as to and tips how persons could publish these things. I know so many people with memoirs and different ideas. How did you get to publish this book in a way that persons could follow your trail?
Well, publishing a book is actually quite easy, you know, as long as you have your manuscript. I actually found a publishing company that I use. It's called Tate Publishing in Oklahoma. Is their base, and my pastor actually referred me to Tate's Publishing, and they were very professional. You know, they give you a timeline when your book is going to be done, but you have to work with them because they're very strict. They give you like 10 days to have something done. If you don't have it done, you're offline. That's it. You just start over again. So it keeps you motivated, and I think some persons sometimes they need motivation when they're publishing a book. For me, my drive was I just saw so many people that were hurting, you know, that was going through what I was going through, and I knew that, you know, many nights I sat up in the morning, I wrote my manuscript, and I'd start over because the papers were wet with tears. You know, I cried many days writing that because it was like almost like reliving that whole situation again. But it was worth it because the whole reason for writing that, I wanted others to know, like, especially to know, no matter how dark or how deep of a place that you're in, that's not the end. That is not the end. You have to get yourself up. You have to see that tomorrow is going to be a different day. You know, like I said, I really didn't think that I was going to make it when my son died. But God is good.
You know, there's something that Bible said in Genesis, it's not good for man to be alone. And it shows that we are still creatures not meant to be alone. Love is a spirit. It can't be by itself. Every love needs a beloved. And how did your environment, your community respond in this time? What did they do? Did they contribute to your healing?
The community of Foxhill, oh my gosh, they surrounded me. Like, I just get emotional thinking about it because they surrounded me with love. They were like my actual family, you know. The pastors, they would visit my home regularly to check in and see how we were doing. They would cook and bring food to my house. I even had persons following my son dead. They came and from the community and washed my clothes. It was just a tremendous outpouring of love.
Wow, and we do have a lot of good pastoral, Macedonia, St. Anselm, St. Mark's, Cope Methodist. We have also Moncari on top of the hill. We have Church of God,
And
Church of
religion played nothing in
Brokers,
it.
and hey, I'm showing them the
We were
diversity.
all
And
one,
you're
yes.
Seventh-day, you're
Yes.
Seventh-day Adventist, and at the end of the day, who cares? We love you. Wow, that's community. We want to thank you all for participating with us, Sonia, here on Silver Linings. Silver Linings is the talk show to try to bring you the realities, the opportunities, show you how to overcome. Silver Lining was brought to you today by Variety Disposable Products. Kiwanis Club of Foxhill, East Nassau meets every Monday at 6:30. St. Paul's Baptist Church, St. Mark's Native Baptist Church, Bahamas Fleet Management Solution, and Word Study Group. Don't forget to look us up on Facebook, Silver Lining, at Gardening Radio 96.9 FM. and you do have a good day. Wherever there is a dark cloud, keep looking. There's a silver lining.